Hi there, Carson Heady. Today we're going to talk a little bit about when to stop calling on a prospect in sales. It's a good one. Frankly, I think it challenges the question of how specifically you're referring to calling on a prospect. Obviously, in olden times, it meant picking up the phone and calling them directly, which is a lost art, and I still think there's a lot of value in. Secondly, now you can send LinkedIn messages and connection requests. You can also do the email, send it direct to them, or guess set the nomenclature of email based on their name and the nomenclature of others in their organization. So there's a lot of value in the direct outreach and approach. And I assume you're probably reaching out to senior executives, folks that you want to have a discussion with. I'm a probability guy, so it's all about probability of being able to create a relationship. So when you're reaching out to folks, obviously the chance of you getting a response can be slim. However, if you craft a personalized message, you make a statement specific to maybe something in the target's personal life or something specific to the mission statement of the organization, something about the news that has been shared about that organization recently, something specific that your organization is doing in that realm that makes sense to prompt outreach. These types of things give you a higher probability of success. So again, probability is what it's all about. You want to put forth the best possible message, send targeted outreach, and request a meeting, and try to add value right out of the gates, rather than trying to sell something right out of the chute or go through your litany of services. You're just trying to sell a meeting at this point. Why would it make sense for this person to meet with you? What stories can you share about what's transpiring in their industry? Now, granted, your likelihood of getting a response can be limited. Even my crafted emails on LinkedIn, I get about a 40% acceptance rate for prospects to accept my request. And then there's a lower chance, obviously, of getting that first meeting. So when do you stop calling on a prospect? Well, you definitely want to employ different methods, but I think it's critical to meet a customer where they are. If they don't respond, or they're not receptive to your first meeting request, or they try to send you elsewhere, that's fine and good. Any response is a good response at first, frankly. So certainly go down those other paths if they refer you to talk to someone else. However, make sure that you're also working on getting to where they want to be met. And what I mean by that is I've found success in kind of building a community around what I'm trying to achieve. That could be creating a newsletter. That could be promoting events and webinars and things of that stature, kind of a passive way of sales. Sending information that you want them to glean, but it doesn't force them to talk to you right out of the gates. And you may or may not want to hear this, but sometimes it's taken me years, but I've eventually gotten some of those folks to be receptive to a messaging. You're wanting the planets to align. You've got to get the messaging to resonate with them at the right time. And so by inviting them to these different things or engaging them with news and stories and things of that stature, eventually the planets will align and you can get them as a target audience. All the while, I think it's important that you look at who they're connected to. You look at how you can break into that business. To get to one person, your chances are very small. However, if you cast a wide net, target 10, 20, 100 in that organization, your chances of eventually getting to that person increase exponentially. In fact, I can tell you to get to some of the C-suite members, CEO, CFO, some of these critical stakeholders, I have had a lot of success in that realm, but typically it's started with other key influencers in the business. Making connections via LinkedIn, getting a meeting, sharing intel, adding some value, and figuring out where it makes sense for me to continue the story. And certainly once you get to those C-suite members, you benefit greatly from having the intel and information that the other folks in that organization have shared with you. So if you're asking, when do you stop calling on a prospect? My answer is never. You find creative ways to continue to stay at the pulse of what they're doing, to continue to do outreach of some sort and have positive touches. We've all seen marketing statistics that people need to see a message 8+ times to act. So you want to find ways to stay top of mind. If you're connected with them on LinkedIn, as an example, they can see your posts. If you're sending them newsletters, sending them information, inviting them to things, your name's going to keep popping up. Your brand is going to keep popping up, and your likelihood of getting that meeting that you want is getting closer and closer. Also, all the while, you're making relationships with other influencers in the business. So the old ways of just picking up the phone and calling on a prospect, that answer is different. If you call on somebody multiple times with the phone and you have zero success, it's likely you should move to a different apparatus, different mechanism. But that said, nowadays there are so many different ways to try to stay connected with folks that I highly recommend you do so, but spend the preponderance of your time focused on relationships that yield conversations and results. Hope this helps. Have a great selling day.